Welcome back to the channel. This is my final Donald Trump exposed video. So, MAGA, you can be upset with me in a different way, I'm sure. But nothing's changed. Make sure you guys go vote. Vote Kamala Harris, Trump 2024. He's gonna say that regardless. He's gonna say the election was fraudulent, regardless of what happened. So let's move on from the Trump era, so we can start talking about real solutions and real issues. Because I'm tired of this cult of the Republican Party. But with that said, let's expose Trump a little bit more. Let's dive right into it.
Undocumented immigrants pay into the tax system every year?
Zero.
Nothing. Nothing.
How many
Nothing.
Undocumented? I would
undocumented
guess zero. Why would they
immigrants
pay anything?
pay taxes for America? And most MAGA think $0.
$100. 2022, they paid $96 billion into Social Security and Medicare, just undocumented.
I really don't know what to say about it.
2022, they paid $96 billion into the Social Security Medicare system.
It seems ludicrous that there would be that kind of money coming in.
You are 100% right. Given everything we've heard, it sounds absurd. It sounds insane, just like an alternate reality, right? It runs counter to the entire narrative that we've been getting the past several years.
The government?
The undocumented immigrants, they paid into the system. They pay it into the system.
Okay.
So through ITN number.
It's undocumented immigrants?
Undocumented immigrants. They
Wow.
pay Medicare, they pay Social Security. They don't get Social Security.
Right, but they pay into it.
They pay
See,
into
I
it.
wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
One thing that I want to point out is I do think the asylum process should be more efficient. I've said this on my podcast before. I was having a conversation in regards to with a border patrol agent, and we've talked about a lot of things that the process can be a little bit smoother. And even though, yeah, we can have a more secure border, which is why I was in favor of that immigration bill, more secure border, more resources, more soldiers, more judges. I also pitched the idea, should we make the legal process smoother and more efficient? And eventually we got to a point of concession where he agreed. So at the end of the day, I think the common sense thing is to know that immigrants are a good thing for the country. They provide a lot in terms of the economy, in terms of a workforce. We can make the process smoother, which is why I just don't understand the MAGA talking point who are pitching against the idea of implementing a bill to help the border for election issues. And I really don't understand this demonization of illegal immigrants that happen consistently. I mean, these are people too, right? You guys are Christians, right? You guys are supposed to be, love thy neighbor, correct? So the process can be smoother. Most of them are asylum seekers. But hating them, especially what they provide for the country, it's kind of weird. But let's dive into the next video. In this video, we're going to talk about Trump as a businessman. Let's dive right into it.
Trump's entire candidacy is based on a lie.
I'm really a good businessman. I'm so good at business. Oh.
Not true. Trump is a business failure. Almost every business he's touched, he's driven into the ground.
When it comes to great steaks, I've just raised the stakes. Trump Steaks are the world's
steaks.
greatest
Did
steaks,
you guys
and the
hear
Sharper
about Trump
Image
Steaks?
is the only store where you can buy
Let me
them.
know if you know about Trump
According to
steaks.
Sharper Image's then CEO, they literally sold almost no steaks.
Trump had a failed board game.
My new game is Trump, the game. Trump, the game. Because
Did you
it's
guys hear
not
about the
what you
Trump board
win or
game?
lose.
Let me know if you
It's
heard about the
whether
Trump board
you
game.
win.
MAGA, you can go buy it.
A
Put more
failed
money in your
bicycle
billionaire's
race
pockets.
called Tour de Trump. A failed football team.
It's going to stay strong. It's going to stay strong for a long time.
Trump decided it was a good idea to start a mortgage company in 2006.
It's a great time to start a mortgage company.
That failed in less than
When
2
you're
years.
that rich, you can just keep
Let's
on
see,
doing whatever
what
you
else
want.
was there?
Whatever happened to Trump Airlines?
Oh, that was a good one. One of his planes had a crash landing within the first 2 months, which he insisted was the most beautiful landing you've ever seen. The business failed within 3 years.
How about Trump University?
Failed.
And then there's Trump Magazine.
Failed.
Trump Vodka.
Failed.
Trump Travel, Trump Ice, Trump Network.
Failed. Failed. Failure. Trump has even managed to bankrupt multiple casinos. How do you lose money running a casino? There's an old joke that the easiest way to make a small fortune is to start with a large one. And that's exactly what Trump did. Multiple analyses show that if Trump had simply invested his multi-million-dollar inheritance in an index fund and didn't touch it, he'd be a lot richer than he is now. Now think about that. His entire life's work has been less successful than if he'd done nothing. And when he was president, Trump ran the country like he ran his failed businesses. He added $8.4 trillion to the national debt.
Under a booming economy,
largely
by the way.
through his tax cuts for the rich and big corporations.
Very
Trump
true.
has managed to survive every one of his business failures by leaving other people on the hook, leaving workers unpaid, shafting his investors. The whole idea that Trump is good at business was a carefully crafted illusion, concocted for a reality TV show. And like a lot of reality TV shows, we've come to learn it was all show and no reality. The only business Trump has been successful at is conning people. Now
True.
he's trying to do it
Billionaires,
again.
man.
Don't fall for it.
What happened to all billionaires are evil shtick? Why are we suddenly cool with billionaires, man? Why are we suddenly cool with these very, very rich people taking advantage? Like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, like what happened? I thought Bill Gates sucked, I thought Bezos sucked, I thought all of them sucked. But hey, man, pick and choose who you support, I guess. People were just gonna say Trump 2024 and again ignore everything that was said in this video. Well, I can't help you. I cannot help you. No matter how much evidence I show you, it won't matter. But with that said, I have one more clip, and this is my final clip, and then I'll have one more video on election day talking about my opinion, my final opinions on Donald Trump. And it'll be election, and we'll see we'll see what happens from there, right? We'll see what happens from there. If Donald Trump wins, he wins. And I'm not going to cry like a little baby, like MAGA cultists. I will see how everything plays out. I'm not going to stage a coup. I'm not going to try to assassinate the president because that's crazy. I'll just see what happens to our country. Well, let's dive into the last video. So this is a final video by Jimmy Kimmel. I don't know what exactly it's about, but
signaling none of that. In fact, I'm going to open with a joke about a Democrat for a change. President Biden, remember him, the man who disappeared? He's Biden. President
see what
Biden
Jimmy
was
Kimmel
in
has to
Delaware
say.
over the weekend, where he went into a Joseph A. Bank, which is puzzling. Why would he go into a Joseph A. Bank? Well, it turns out he was looking to deposit his Social Security check, but they didn't have an ATM. No ATM. So, all right, so let's begin. Well, first, for those of you who don't ever watch, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. Maybe you remember me from The Man Show. We had a pretty good relationship back then. The beer, the trampolines, good times, right? We had fun. But now times are less fun. We're a week away from an election, and we are very divided. And not just because of Donald Trump, because of people like, if I'm being honest, me. I do a lot of mocking and belittling, and it isn't always productive. Am I biased against Donald Trump? Yes. Do I think I have good reasons for being biased against him? Yes. And I'm probably wrong, but I think when you hear some of those reasons, you might agree with me even just a little bit. Now, I assume you're watching this because
let's see.
you care
Let's see
about
what he
the
has to
person who
say.
asked you to watch it, or maybe you're just open-minded and not afraid to hear somebody who might not agree with you speak. Either way, thank you for giving me 15 minutes of your life to talk about Donald Trump. And maybe you love him and you'll vote for him no matter what he says or what he does. Maybe you hate the other side so much you'll look past anything he says or does.
That's
Maybe
fair.
there's a little voice in the back of your head saying, I might not want this guy driving the bus. And if you're one of those people who think Democrats are controlling the weather or Beyonce eats baby skin, forget it. This is not going to help at all. This is not for you. But what I'm asking you to hear isn't what I have to say. That doesn't matter. I want you to hear what he's saying. Most Americans, and you are probably one of them, don't have time to watch his rallies and his speeches and all the interviews because you have other things to do. But I don't have other things to do. This is all I have to do. And because I don't have other things to do, I've seen all or at least part of every interview, every speech, every all cap social media posts from this man for the past 9 years. And I'm not going to bore you with the old stuff. I'm not going to rehash the grab him by the tape or the insults to John McCain or Stormy Daniels or the wall he didn't get Mexico to pay for. I'm not even going to bring up the stuff that has been written about him, even though we've heard some disturbing things from a lot of people he hired to work for him. I'm only going to focus on words that came out of his mouth, because I think you might be surprised when you hear some of them. Now, since day one,
All right.
Trump has been telling us he's going to make America great again. Since 2015, he's been saying he wants to abolish Obamacare. He wants to replace it with something better. He says he has a plan. He says that over and over and over again.
We have no choice but to absolutely replace Obamacare, and we're going to come up with a much better plan.
We're going to come up with a great health plan, and this is a great plan. Wait till you see the plans we have coming out.
Wait till you see those plans,
over the next
man.
4 weeks. We have a plan coming out, an additional plan coming out in a very short period of time. We're going to have fantastic health care, and the plan is coming out over the next 4 weeks.
We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks.
9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan.
I have concepts of a plan was hilarious. He's been trying to repeal Obamacare for years, and he still doesn't have a plan. That's funny.
Running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan.
We already have the concept of the plan, and it'll be much better health care. What the plan is? Yeah, well, we'll be announcing that in about 2 months.
In about 2 months. That was 2019. We still haven't seen a plan for health. If someone who works for you, well, let's say it's your barber, promises to present you with a plan for trimming your hair over and over again for 9 years and never does, you probably fire that person. You probably get a new barber because your hair would be down to your ass. Donald Trump
Concepts
was
of a
president
barber.
for 4 years. You would think
Concepts
that
of
at
a
this point
haircut.
he would have some answers, some kind of plans for simple questions about subjects like healthcare and childcare. But every time they ask him one of these simple questions, like what actual steps are you going to take to lower the cost of childcare, what's the plan? He doesn't even try to answer. He just tap dances.
Can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. You know, I was somebody, we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that, because look, child care is child care. It's something you have to have it.
Child care is child care. You can't argue with that. He's like a child who didn't do his
Oh
homework
my
for him.
goodness.
The only children whose care he seems to care about are the children who are being forcibly sex changed at school. Now, I understand this is a tough subject for people to understand, but this alarm he keeps sounding about forced sex change operations, this is not happening. This is an imaginary problem. But Donald Trump would like us to believe that our children's penises are in grave danger.
Your child goes to school, and they don't even call you, and they change the sex of your child. Sex change
Yo, this sounds like it's in like a fictional story. The things that he
and
says,
not tell the parents.
and you
The
people
boy leaves
believe
the
it.
School comes back a girl. It was a he, and comes back a she. You say, Jimmy, I love you so much. Go have a good day in school, and your son comes back with a brutal operation, and often without parental
Oh my goodness,
consent.
this
Can
doesn't
you even believe
happen.
we're saying this?
No, none of us can believe you're saying this. Public schools are not giving gender.
And before anybody says, well, this person, blah, 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 there is little to no kids getting sex change operations. That's just a fact, a statistical fact. But it's kind of off-putting to me how Republicans will go and say, hey, mass shooting's not big of an issue because it only happens about like 5% of the time. But then cry and whine about the small percentage that is. It's a small to no percentage, because I can't say anything certainly is 0%, but I vehemently dismiss the idea of having any kids doing sex change operations. See, I can actually say something with substance, right? So But those people says it's not an issue. We shouldn't change anything. It barely happens. But oh, sex changes happen all the time. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Double standards, man. Double standards. Let's continue here.
Surgeries to children or any surgeries to children. And without the parents' permission, parents can't send their kids to school with peanut butter, okay? Schools won't let our kids eat nuts. You think they're okay with cutting them off? This is a lie. You have to know that you do know this. This is not real. The president should be focused on things that are actually things. There are so many difficult problems that need to be solved. And this guy can't stop talking about windmills.
The windmills, they don't work. They're rusting.
Windmills don't work.
They're making a lot of noise. I could hear it for 2 miles away. They're destroying the country. If you want to see a lot of dead birds, go to a windmill and just look underneath.
Windmills are destroying the country. Renewable energy is destroying the country.
Bald eagle and other eagles.
And then they kill all the whales, right? They're driving the whales.
Yo, Trump, he sounds like an old grandpa, bro. He just be saying the most like these type of stories, this type of rhetoric is something you would say. My old veteran grandpa, my grandpa who went through war, came back and just singing a bunch of loony stuff. You know, that one grandpa in those typical movies where he can't update himself with the modern world, where he sees a cell phone and says, What is this? What is this doohickey? That's what Donald Trump sounds like. And people, I don't know how, but people are just believing everything he says. It's crazy.
The wind is bullshit.
The wind is
The
bullshit.
wind is bullshit. Honestly, do you know anyone who speaks like that? The people you know
Oh,
who
this
think the
is-
wind
this
is
is
bullshit
funny.
are crazy people standing on a street corner yelling at cars. He's completely preoccupied with nonsense. I'd like you to close your eyes now and imagine you're at the dinner table on a Sunday night. Your grandpa's there.
Oh,
Grandpa's
he
had
took
a
my
long day, started
joke.
the day tweeting hate messages to Taylor Swift. He ended it.
He took my.
dancing to the
He's
Village
doing it
People for
better though.
39
He's doing it
minutes.
better.
You
He's
ask him
a
to pass
professional
the green
comedian.
beans,
All right.
And Grandpa launches into this.
But if I'm sitting down and that boat's going down and I'm on top of a battery and the water starts flooding in, I'm getting concerned. But then I look 10 yards to my left and there's a shark over there. So I have a choice of electrocution or shark. You know what I'm going to take? Electrocution. I will take electrocution every single time. Do we agree?
No, we don't, because we don't know what you're talking about. And we don't know why you're talking about it. I mean, aren't you supposed to be running for president? Aren't you supposed to be worried about important topics? And here's the thing. It's kind of funny, these silly random rants of his, and they would be fine if he was hosting a podcast or selling knives at the farmer's market, but he's supposed to be leading us. People are listening to him, and the country is getting crazier because he makes it okay to be nuts. Remember when all those people were in Dallas waiting for JFK Jr. and his dad to come back to life, and then he would serve as Trump's running mate in 24? Okay, let's try to imagine John F. Kennedy saying the same thing Trump just said.
But if I'm sitting down and that boat is going down and I'm on top of a battery and the water starts flooding in, I'm getting concerned. But then I look 10 yards to my left and there's a shark over there. So I have a choice.
Oh, this is good.
Electrocution or shark. You know what? I'm going to take electrocution.
Like, what are you talking about? Oh my god, bro.
Oh, and I
What happened to American politics, bro? On the White House.
It sounds much nuttier when you hear it from a real president, right? Donald Trump is the exact meeting point between QAnon and QVC. You remember when Ronald Reagan was selling high tops in the 80s? No, you don't, because he wasn't. Reagan didn't sell sneakers. Clinton didn't sell pork rinds. Bush didn't sell baked beans. Presidents don't sell products, except for one who sells a lot of them.
Hello, everyone. I have something incredible to share today. We are announcing the launch of Trump Coins. It's a really beautiful coffee table book. I'm doing my first official.
It's crazy to me that a candidate, and people bring up the talking point, oh, well, Trump lost money. He is gaining money from y'all. He's made himself a religious figure within a cult, and you guys are just buying his stuff. All this stuff is going to his pockets, not his campaign. It's wild to me. I feel any candidate, I feel like, could not get away with this, but somehow, some way, man, He's manipulating y'all to
OJ
make him
Trump
richer.
NFT collection right here and right now. My new book, Save America. is
I
now
feel for you,
available for
MAGA.
order. By popular demand, I'm doing a new series of Trump digital trading
I'm
cards.
gonna be pretty
These cards
upset.
show me dancing and even be holding some bitcoins. That's the real deal. That's the real deal. My last two Trump digital trading card collections sold out in just hours. And now I'm back with my latest series called the Mugshot Edition. Here it is. If you want to go out and get it, you can go out and get it. Have fun with it. My new Trump watches. That's a lot of diamonds. I love gold. I love diamonds. We all do. I think you all should get a copy of God Bless the USA Bible. Let's make America pray again. God bless you. And God bless the USA.
Now, those God Bless the USA Bibles, you probably know, weren't even made in the USA. They're made in China. That's how tough he is on China. He forces them to make his Bibles for him. How does this not bother anyone? How is this not embarrassing? This is like a bizarre...
Also, making a Bible, genuine question. Any MAGA who's bought his Bible, is it any different from like the normal Christian Bible? Because I'm low-key concerned that it's a bit different from the Christian Bible. Can someone that is like really religious kind of look that up? Because I'm pretty concerned about that. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not religious.
world. He's selling Trump Bibles because, of course, he's selling. This is a man with deep reverence for the word of the Lord.
You mentioned the Bible. You've been talking about how it's your favorite book. And you said, I think last night in Iowa, some people are surprised that you say that. I'm wondering what one or two of your most favorite Bible verses are and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal, so I don't want to
Donald
get into
Trump doesn't
verses.
read the
I don't
Bible,
wanna get
right?
into- No,
Come on.
It means a lot to you that you think about or cite?
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
You think to cite a verse that
No,
you like?
I don't want to do that.
You're an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal.
And the fact that he's manipulating Christians to thinking that he's a Christian, oh my goodness, it's so wild.
Sharing his favorite Bible verse is too personal. But did you hear about Arnold Palmer's big one? Boy, look, he obviously hasn't read the Bible. And that's okay. Just say you haven't read the Bible. If you did, you know you're not supposed to lie about reading the Bible. It's the 9th commandment. The lying is unprecedented and relentless. So many Republican mayors, governors, senators, people from his own party who want to support him beg him to stop spreading these ridiculous stories, but he won't. He won't even do it when he's confronted by Fox News.
When you said, you know, it's gone viral, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, you say you're just reporting what had been said. But why not say now, well, look, that turned out not to be true.
I don't know if
Here's
it's
my
not true.
board of
I don't know if it's true or not true. I read
Eating
something.
the pets, you don't know if it's true or not true? It's been debunked by
Well,
local
they say,
officials.
what about the goose, the geese? What about the geese? What happened there? They were all missing. I don't
There was
know.
one guy with two geese.
Howie, I have no idea. That's a story that was reported, and I said that. Why don't you go after the newspaper that wrote it? Don't blame me.
Well, I think it's been debunked by local officials.
I don't think it's been
You're sticking
debunked
to
at
it.
all. I think nobody talks about it except you.
But wait.
Oh my goodness, this video is hilarious, man. Donald Trump. Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
I thought you were against fake news. How is this what we want from a president? Someone who believes or pretends to believe any crackpot story that fits his narrative, who blames everything on immigrants, forgetting, I guess, that 2 of his 3 wives were immigrants? Do we only have room for hot immigrants? Is that either he doesn't care about the truth or he has a hard time understanding what the truth is? Both very bad options. So now we have an election on Tuesday, and Trump has made it very clear that if he wins, it was an honest election, and if he loses, it was a rigged election. There were only 2 possible outcomes. It was stolen or I win. Can you imagine if
That
this
was
happened in
stolen
the
or
World
I win.
Series? Like if the manager of the Yankees, Aaron Boone, after the game, reporter asked him what the team has to do to come back, he's like, come back. We don't have to come back. We're winning. We won. They cheated. The umpire was born in L.A.,
That's
and
good.
Ohtani's an illegal immigrant. I'll see you at the victory parade. He would be taken to the hospital. They'd do an MRI on his brain to find out what was wrong. How is what Trump is doing any different from that? He has no plan to lower grocery prices or to make us safer or to protect the border. The only plans he has is to file lawsuits, legal challenges, settle scores, and punish his enemies. That's all he has planned. He's going to pull all the same tricks he pulled last time and more. And this is not my opinion. This is happening right out in the open. They're not even trying to keep it secret. The one thing that makes this country a democracy more than anything else are free and fair elections of the people, by the people, and for the people. what it says. He wants to turn it into of me, by me, for me. He's planning to pardon himself. Nixon must be rolling over in his grave, just punching himself in the face right now for not thinking of that. He doesn't believe the election was rigged in 2020. His own White House staff testified under oath that he knew all along there was no evidence of fraud. He knows he lost the election. Trump's own daughter, his golden child, Ivanka, one of his closest advisors, said there was no evidence of voter fraud. And yet here we are, almost 4 years later, and he's doing it all over again.
If I lose, I'll tell you what's possible, because they cheat. That's the only way we're going to lose. They don't want voter ID because they want to cheat. They're trying to rig the vote through this crap they're doing. They cheat with ballots, and they drop ballots and fake ballots.
They're trying to rig it with this. This is their new form.
I didn't rig it. They did.
They are professional thieves when it comes to elections.
He's really made
They lie and the way they cheat.
half
How
of
will
the
Democrats cheat in
country
Pennsylvania?
About
not
12
trust our
different
own
ways.
country.
So many ways. If you had all day, I could give you.
Hey man,
examples.
America's been the longest
I have
running
2
empire
minutes.
for a
Just
long
give
time.
me one of those examples.
So-
Those poor dummies on January 6th, they all went to prison because they believed him. And I get that politicians don't typically tell the truth. They exaggerate. But this is ridiculous. How can we have an election if whoever loses won't accept the results and think CBS should have its license revoked for an episode of 60 Minutes he didn't like, and who sides with Russia over the CIA and sent COVID equipment to Putin at the height of the pandemic when Americans couldn't even get it? Not to mention the 34 felony convictions. Will he be president from jail? I mean, how do you see that working? Listen, politics in a lot of ways is like sports. You probably just root for the team your dad roots for. Maybe you've been a Republican your whole life, that's your team, and it feels wrong not to root for them or to vote for them. But this time around, you wouldn't be alone. You have a lot of company because hundreds of prominent Republicans, including dozens of members of his own administration, generals, senators, his own chief of staff. I mean, Dick Cheney is... all believe he is unfit to be president. This has never happened before. And you know who else isn't voting for him? I'll tell you who. This guy, Mike Pence, his adoring, subservient vice president, said, I will not be endorsing Donald Trump this year. Who would have ever thunk it? I mean, it's like if milk turned on cookies.
It's kind of
his own vice president. How much more?
like, have we ever seen a vice president turn on his on his president, vice president on his president? Have we ever seen that before? I mean, it's crazy. It's insanity.
But if you do need more, I'd suggest you watch that rally he had at Madison Square Garden or listen to all 3 hours of his interview with Joe Rogan, because most elections are about policy. This one is not. This is about sanity and security and democracy. You know, I saw a shirt the other day. It said, I support Trump because he pisses off the people who piss me off. And it's funny, and I get it. Sometimes it feels like no one has a sense of humor anymore. But is that really all we want for America, is to piss each other off? I don't want that. Anyway, if you made it this far...
Seems that's all Jimmy Kimmel has to say. I couldn't say it better myself. I think Jimmy Kimmel is very articulate. So, hey man, ladies and gentlemen, MAGA. I'll say this. I'm gonna give you a little story. Back when I was in college, I went to a liberal arts school. The liberal arts school was filled with liberals. The liberals, some were cool, some were not. And I had my closest friend, one of my closest friends, I can't really say one of my closest friends while I was in college, was a Republican. This was back in 2016. He was one of my closest friends. He was a Donald Trump supporter. Back in 2016, I was leaning more conservative, especially considering I didn't realize how bad Donald Trump ended up being, but I like some of the ideas, and I had a very surface level of knowledge, obviously considering the state of the country and all that stuff, right? So it was all looking better, the economy was better, but I didn't have the ins and outs. I wasn't informed. So that's why I can't really be mad at you, because even me wasn't too informed about everything that was going on back in college. I can't be too mad at like most MAGA people, right? So back in that time, we would watch Steven Crowder, Change Your Mind. Some of that stuff was pretty funny, and he would be getting treated pretty bad in a liberal arts school, mind you. Like, people were calling him racist and all that stuff, and you can see my complexion, and we were friends, and his roommate was a black dude too. We were all cool. We were all having a good time. I say that story about him getting treated unfairly to show you that Donald Trump is not someone that I hate because I'm a Democrat or liberal. If anything, a lot of the liberals and woke lefties dislike me, especially for stuff I've said about them before the election cycle started. But I come at it with a point of view based off what I've seen and the facts I know. It has nothing to do with political encapsulation. It has everything to do what is right in front of my eyes that I trust, of course. And a one individual changing the Republican Party so much is insane to me. One individual who lies as much as he does, insane to me. One individual who puts himself above the country is insane to me. He made an entire side dislike our country and not trust it. So I'll go in more depth in the video that I'm dropping on election day, but tells you a little perspective on where I come from in my journey with Trump. It didn't start out with me disliking Trump. It actually started out with me saying, why not? Let's see how Trump does. I don't really have a strong opinion on him, but now I do. So with that said, vote Kamala Harris. Let's get past this Trump era. And hopefully, if Kamala wins, the MAGA don't try to coup the government. And if Kamala loses, well, we'll see how everything goes. With that said, you can like it. Probably won't, because MAGA is very upset. Subscribe if you agree or disagree. And more importantly, go vote blue. With that said, you have a good one. Take care. Peace.